governance. It simply means a greater level of independence and not complete independence. So
So
it's
it's
like
not.
a child.
So it's not secession.
No, it's not secession.
Explain that.
Autonomy
You.
can best, it can best, and secession is also a big word that means complete separation. Complete separation. That's what secession means. What autonomy means is a greater level of independence. All right. It can best be described as a child moving from 16 to 20. There's a period of transition. Or if we say from 16 to 25, there's a period of transition of total dependence to complete independence. At 25, a child is no longer a child, it's a young person, a young adult. That 25-year-old can rent, that 25-year-old can have children, that 25-year-old can do a whole number of things independent of the parents. But the child is not independent completely, the child still has an attachment. All right, and so what we're asking for is that Tobago shows a certain level of independence insofar as its legislative system. We should be able to design laws for good governance and order within Tobago. We should be able to do that. We should be able to have our own economic systems and policies planned right within Tobago. No one should tell us from outside what to do and what not to do to make money. Tobagonians among themselves should be able to sit and think and come up with a plan and say, we can do this. Take, for example, Singapore. They don't even have one single oil field, but Singapore makes more money from processing oil than Trinidad and Tobago makes from processing oil because they have a whole island they use for that. And so there are things that people can do so as to bring in money. You have been to Las Vegas, and I've been to Las Vegas, and there are some places in Las Vegas where they actually create man-made beaches. And there are more people in those man-made beaches than in Maracas sometimes. You know what I'm saying to you? So there are things that people can do to create interest by those who visit. Sometimes there are big underground, waterground tanks. So what do you do to attract people? Tobagonians should be able to sit and decide that. Whether they want to have agro-tourism, health tourism, sport tourism, whatever type of tourism they want to engage in, they should decide those things. Whether they want to have a light manufacturing, hard manufacturing, they should decide those things. Whether they want to have university and have a kind of educational tourism, they should decide that. Give Tobago a chance to plan its future. But we must plan our future, not by ourselves, but within the wider space of Trinidad and Tobago. We shouldn't compete with Trinidad for the same product. We should try to give a product that Trinidad is not offering, or do something better than what Trinidad is doing, so we can fetch a different market from Trinidad. So we have to be able to work like that, and Tobago is not given the opportunity. But I know that once we get into office, Tobago would be able to benefit from those opportunities, because we also believe that opportunities should come to all without discrimination. There must be no distinction between party cards. If you have talent, you must harness talent and push talent, whether it be in sports, whether it be in academics, whether it be in music, whether it be in technology. We should be able to recognize talent. And sometimes the best talent may not be that which you find in a university. It may just be that which is natural. So you harness it and you promote it.
Thank you very much, sir. I wanted that out. Can you answer the question now concerning COVID and what plans the PDP party have, and what you think is necessary for us to get over and survive this COVID?
All right, so COVID has damaged the economy, but it's now picking back up because we are depending on local tourism, staycation, they call it. It has also affected the way people work. So you find a lot of people are working from home now, so traffic is less. So in one sense, you find that there's not much money for taxis, etc. A couple of businesses are suffering because of that also too. COVID has also affected how we eat. Yeah, how we eat. Because with less money, people buy less. All right? It's affected a whole number of things. Education, a whole number of stuff. How we intend to treat the COVID, that's a whole topic by itself. Dr. Faith is best suited for that. She's in those fields, a public health person. But I will just say from our discussions and our position is that Tobago must first of all begin to see COVID as something for it to deal with. Right now, Tobago doesn't see COVID as something for it to treat with. Tobago, again, because it's a ward, sees COVID as something Trinidad will treat with. We are just a ward. We can't fly away from our face. That's the sickness they have us in. So if a fly of COVID comes dangling in our faces, the most we could do is say, Trinidad, COVID bothering me, fly bothering me. And we want to be away from that. We must be able to have a first class lab here. We must be able to have the best tests done right here. Nothing must go to Trinidad to be tested. All our tests must be conducted here. We must have our isolation rooms here. We must have our places there for the quarantine right here. And we must determine what is best for quarantine. We must determine what are the other hospitals we could use to set up and how we're going to do it. So we must be so good with handling COVID that actually people from Trinidad must come across for treatment. And that of itself will be able to bring some type of resources. Because when you move a man, his family will come to us to want to stay with him. And that allows us to make the money. So we have to replan it in a way where we are in charge of that master plan to govern COVID. And the time has come when people are now engaging in biological warfare. And so we have persons who are able to deal with these biological agents that are now weaponized and used against mankind to wipe them out. We have people to come up with strategy plans to treat with that. And we have none on the island.
We were specific there with COVID. But aren't you glad that the day will come when we don't have to fly out people to Trinidad for anything?
Yeah.
Emergency care, an accident, a fire. Tell us what are your plans, you and your party, and what you will
PDP,
and what you will assist your chief secretary.
Well, PDP has long cherished the idea that it's easier for us to fly a medical professional into Tobago than to fly our people out. Every time someone is flown to Trinidad for a little knee injury, a leg injury, some kind of a little heartburn, it's $20,000 TT dollars, $20,000 for a helicopter ride to Trinidad. Whereas to bring someone to Tobago, it's only $300 by airplane. So it's easier to fly someone in than to fly a patient out, fly a doctor in, fly a professional in. It's cheaper, only $300 return, than to fly a patient out. So we have to be more self-sufficient, more focused on the needs of Tobago, and be able to have, like I say, a hospital that folks from Trinidad who are lining up for MRI, who are lining up for surgery, they must want to come to Tobago because it can be done faster here. And it can be done equally as good or better than Trinidad. And by doing that, their family will come with them. And when the family come, we make some type of money from that, spin off from that, downstream from that. So we are seeing everything as a business opportunity. And COVID is definitely a business opportunity if we take control of how we manage it. But as it is right now, the PNM enjoy being a ward to Trinidad, so they can't even fly away from their face. COVID is here, and they're telling them, you take your patients and put them on a Coast Guard boat and bring them to Trinidad. They're saying, okay, you take your patients and put them in Magdalena. You take your patients and put them in. We are not in charge. We have a old hospital that is not being utilized. There are many other buildings around Tobago that are underutilized. We have to come up with a serious plan. And I think sometimes the best way to treat with COVID is a one and done solution. We need to say, we will build a particular hospital in isolation. So when men begin to weaponize certain biological agents as warfare, we must be able to take patients who are with 100 or so and carry them to this place where they can be treated. And that whole risk of the rest of society becoming contaminated is not there. When you put in persons with these highly contagious disease among normal people, sometimes people's within people within the hospital get infection. No natural infection. We have to avoid that. We can mix person with highly contagious disease with ordinary person who going for a sprained wrist or a damaged ankle.
Thank you so much, Mr. Duke. We are so enlightened by what you have to say to us, because these are the issues that we have to face. And I know PNM might say, well, we were doing that, or we would do that. Bina, coulda, shoulda is not being done.
Yeah,
Is not
certainly.
getting things done. So, Mr. Watson Duke, we have another question here for you. I'm getting real problems here. Reading from any angle, with or without light. So now,
I can see
Mr.
the
Watson
question.
Duke, yes. You mentioned that running and political party, or running a political party, that's to tell you the problems are having. Running a political party is not without financial cost. How can people help you provide financial support to the PDP and effort to?
Yeah. Well, we have several accounts. We have some of the each of the 12 divisions of Tobago have action groups, and each action group has an account. So you can help from that community level, or there's a PDP account where you can put the money in. That persons can help the party of itself. When the money come there, we have tight fiscal management that we use to regulate how the money is spent. All right. We also intend to use things like GoFund, where we can fund certain projects. Right now, we have to look at raising funds to pay lawyers to go to court to defend the people of Tobago. And we don't want to be walking around the streets with a pan around our neck or a hat extended in our arms asking for support. We want to do it in a dignified way. And so we are thinking about setting up a fund, a GoFund, something like that, program on the web, so persons can go and fund us to assist us to defer expenses with treating with the legal matters. And the party is always costly because you have to pay for music truck, you have to pay for lights, you have to provide basic resources for those who come out to meetings, because when they come to meetings, you don't know what they're going back home to. You want to treat them in a particular kind of dignified way. So we have been managing. We have, it's tough out there. We have many bills to be paid for elections, but we are coping. I think most persons who work with us, they have a heart of gold and a mind that is totally understanding of the challenges we face. And so though we are hard pressed, we have not been sunken to the point of bankruptcy or to the point where we cannot treat persons with the expectations they look forward to insofar as compensation. So that's one of the things we're looking for. So I want persons who are listening out there to start checking your wallet, checking your accounts, because in the next few days, we intend to launch legal action against the state regarding the issues of the not exhausting the standing orders of the Tobago House of Assembly and the standing orders of the House of Representatives to break the deadlock. If the standing orders were exhausted, we would have a decision, because what needs to be chosen at this point in time is a presiding officer and not a chief secretary. Once we chose the presiding officer would have the opportunity to break the deadlock. That's how we treat it. You don't need 3 additional seats. What you need is the election of a presiding officer. And if you read Article 92 of the THA standing orders, it will refer you to the standing orders of the House of Representatives. And when you read 410 of this Article 410, within the standing orders of the House of Representatives, it will tell you that when there's a tie, you can cast lots. Lots is a game of chance. It means that the person who wins is as good as the person who lost. And anybody could win, anybody could lose. There's no special favor. We are saying you don't need to have no 3 seats. All you need to do is to exercise the 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 rights and the rules that have been placed within the standing orders, both of the THA and the House of Representatives. So we are prepared to say to Tobago and to Trinidad, yes, we need funds. Yes, you need to put in an account for us. But yes, be prepared to assist us in funding those legal bills that we've been incurring over the next few days so we can at least defend Tobago, because the Prime Minister, he's seeking senior counsel's advice. And he said, I have senior counsel advice, I'm going to do this. Though those advice are erroneous, we also want to seek the advice and get proper representation in the court on behalf of Tobagonians.
Well, Mr. Duke, we have a whole lot of comments from people and statements. We wouldn't be able to run through all of them. But Mr. Duke, is there any outreach number? You have any outreach number or email that we can post here right now so people can get to the point?
There is an email that we have.
People who located abroad, like us.
Yeah. We have several PDP emails. Let me see if I can pull up one of those. We have PDP Trinbago @gmail.com. So maybe you could type that in, PDP, all lowercase, no dots, PDP Trinbago @gmail.com. PDP Trinbago @gmail.com. That's one of the emails we have.
Because a lot of people that live in abroad will like to contribute.
Yeah, and that's very important. This is a revolution needs to be sponsored by the people.
Even a pensioner like me.
Yes, well, I mean, we take it. By the grace of God, we take it. Thank you.
You are welcome. So, Brother Watson Duke, Stephanie George says something here. Can you read that?
Stephanie George said the president must appoint 6 PDP candidates to the vacant position divisions in the THA ASAP. All right.
Are you in agreement of that, or you want to comment?
I understand what she's getting at. I understand what she's getting at. What she's getting at is that there must be a united. We are equally qualified and entitled to be in charge of divisions as much as a PNM are qualified and entitled, because it's 6-6. That's the point she's making. Yeah. So I understand the point she's making.
Thank you, Stephanie George. Is there another question or statement? I think Ava McCall said something today. Can we see what Ava was saying? I think what's going on behind the scene. I think management stepped away like me.
It's very, very, very interesting to see how much support we are getting via the comments. And I want to tell those who are commenting, maybe I'm reading comments. I'm very heartened and motivated.
We have another comment here.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have another comment here.
Yes. I will give 1,000 to the PDP party who are willing to give that whatever you have. We are willing to give whatever you have. We are very thankful for that, Dennis. This is a revolution. Many of us have given up a lot just to fight on your behalf, and we intend to continue to fight.
When we're using revolutionists and revolution, we got to be careful for the people who doesn't understand the context of your revolution.
This is a change.
People doesn't know that revolution is a change.
So it's a change. It's a change, a political change that we are talking about. Because what we have is a political stagnation that leaves us as a water Trinidad, a subjective, derogatory state where we are literally dependent on Trinidad, and they keep throw it in our face that you don't do anything, but you want money, 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 money. That's how people speak to their children who are dependents. But when a big man is working and he's collecting his own money, you don't ever use that term to him and say, you only ask him for money because you don't ask. He gives
But
you money.
that's but
And
that's
Tobago
that's
must
only
give
that's
them
only
that
one
money.
of the that's only one of the revolutionary explanation you have. We have a lot.
Yeah.
It's not only
Of
that we
course, a
just
lot,
want to get
it's
away.
very diverse. It's very diverse.
Tobago is in need of a lot of stuff that
Mm-hmm.
can show us as a progressive island.
Yeah.
That when people
Yeah.
come to our place in Tobago, they don't have to walk away from the waterfall saying, I expected better.
Yeah. 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 There
They
are things we
sure
can
do
do.
expect it better.
There are things we can do to make the waterfall more accessible to all.
With much more safety measures, like the young boy that lost his life there in Argyle, in the waterfall. There must be some things can be done better if the rain start falling in the forest. People should know down
Some
in the
alarm
waterfall.
could go off. Some alarm could go off and want people to get out of the area. Yeah.
Can you say that again so that it will be more?
I said if the rain comes down heavy and the water reaches a particular level, there could be certain alarms you can set within the river that will go off. So persons who are bathing lower stream could be alerted and escape the possible dangers.
Do we have lifeguards at the waterfall yet since the death of that young man? Do you know?
Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. To
And
my
do you
knowledge.
think we
But
should have lifeguards there?
well, once there is water available and people could engage in swimming, they're going to be wildness. And even though you could swim, sometimes you could engage in serious complication. And so there should be lifeguard wherever there's a considerable amount of water that could actually endanger life. There should be lifeguards around.
We don't want to pressure anybody. But
Yeah.
right next to the waterfall, our Roxborough police officer, Collie says, like, think he has a liquor shop or some bar right there.
Wow.
Next to water. You know, people can drink and get a little bit tipsy. If we have lifeguards there, we have people there that could see you looking like you can't handle your liquor.
Yeah.
We ain't trying to shut nobody down, but I think we need lifeguard there.
Yeah, I would suggest that too. It's a place that is heavily frequented by tourists, and there are many big swimming pools, so person may want to exercise their limbs, and in so doing, it could pose a danger or threat to their life.
Do they have like in the waterfall? Do they have like marks like when you have a pool, 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, so children can know their limitations and parents can know?
No. But I mean, most of the time,
when you guys should get your opportunity, please, I would like you all to take little things like that into consideration, because it will be life-saving for the little person who is going to the pool.
That's very true. But very important, in addition to that, very important to that is access, even to people with wheelchair. They should be able to access all our points of interest in Tobago, and we should have restrooms at those sites also too. People are going there and there's no restrooms. I mean, it's very challenging. So you must have restrooms, and you must have that. You must have restrooms, and you must have access to people in wheelchair, because they too are human beings. They too need to see the beauty of God and the beauty of Tobago.
I visited Granby Beach with my daughter and my son, and as a diabetic, we went there because I wanted to use the washroom. And I'm going to use a couple of words here now. Oh my God.
Wow.
One of the washroom was locked and it can't be opened. I look for the security. I look for management. All I met was a watchman. The watchman
Imagine.
showed me a place outside around on the sun where I should go and squat. Because although that is very exposed, it is much better to go there than to go into. So I pushed the door for the toilet. Please, when you guys should get into power, let Granby Beach, where all these tourists going, and where we have a restaurant there with very good, nice fried chicken and fries. My girl Ruth Wilson, she operates there. But then nobody wouldn't buy food if the restroom that everybody have to use looks like that. I'm speaking out. When you guys should get into power, can you guys go to, what beach is that after Castara? Not Fisherman's, it's Fisherman Bay? Englishman's Bay. When I went there last, they didn't have a toilet, they had latrine.
Wow.
I said latrines.
Wow. Unfortunate.
If and when, not if, when it is finished, you guys are sworn in assemblymen. I think we can do one more question before I break the news to my audience and even to you.
All right.
But I'm watching you got to read this question here.
So Watson Duke, what is your impression of PM's Rowley's recent statement regarding the teachers' election results and the corresponding response from Kamala Prasad-Visasa? I think that the Prime Minister is trying to use smoke and mirrors. He's trying to distract the people of Tobago.
He's ashamed.
Yeah, he's trying to distract the people of Tobago from what the real issue is. And the real issue is that the deadlock can be solved via the standing orders of the House of Representatives. When you're going to elect a House Speaker, if there's a tie, then you draw lots. That's what it is. It also explains that a presiding officer is also a form of House Speaker in the Tobago House of Assembly. So if there's a tie, you ought to draw lots. I don't know why they don't want to draw lots, and they seem to treat that with disdain and a certain level of disregard. So nobody wants to draw no lots. No kumbaya thing they say. But I think drawing lots is not something that anybody like, but it gives everyone a fair opportunity because there's no discussions. Either you have it or you don't. So we are saying he's trying to distract people from that. I think he's going to fix it.
Please, brother Duke, please. Mama Coco dying here right now to understand what is drawing lots. After people go out there and vote and stuff, what is drawing lots now?
Drawing lots is something that they use in Texas. It could be like, it could be pulling a card, it could be anything, but it's a chance game. Flipping a coin, birds or numbers. It could be a straw, but that's what happened because it doesn't allow for political maneuvering. It doesn't allow to be swayed by a person's personal belief. It's either have it or you don't. It's all a chance. That's what they used to do in Bible days. They still use it around the world in certain places. So it is already in the standing orders, already accepted by the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago that if they are choosing.
You don't think it's that very like European massa dating where they cast lots? They cast lot for Jesus clothes. They sell out the things for 30 pieces of silver. Somehow it is provoking me spiritually. And I can't believe that. Listen, I can't believe that after all these years of some small democratic space called Trinidad and Tobago, we don't have anything plan for a tie. We have to go back now to put people on edge and making people feel disenfranchised by running out there and vote to give PDP the chance, and now PDP just lose because of casting of lots. Why we don't cast a lot and just call a prime minister out or pick up two people who we like and nominate them and
Well, it's a tie, eh? And a tie means that it's 6-6. It means that those who have 6 are deserving to win, and those who have 6, they could lose. So everyone deserves to win, and it's just fair, right? When you reach a tie,
so you think that is better than going back to the polls?
Well, it is provided for. If it wasn't provided for, there's certain the polls. But if it is provided for, then that's the route we should go. I have no problem with lots. It's God to control those things. And if this is a mission of
God control lots, you think? You think God wanted them? You think God wanted them to send away his son Jesus Christ and cast lots for his clothes and his garments, sell him out for 30 pieces of silver?
I'm not a preacher, but I'm saying if God is God and he's in control of everything, if he's God. If not God, then he's not. But if he's God, he's in control of everything. Nothing could take him by surprise. He knows everything. Okay. He knows our downsitting, he knows our rising, he knows when we go out, he knows when we come in. He knows when we sit, he knows when we stand. He knows everything, and we have to take it for granted that he knows who will win if we cast lots. And the Bible said, no good thing will he withhold from them that love him. From
I
those
like
that
your
walk
faith.
So
I like your faith. Yes, I like your faith.
Then give us a good thing.
Yes. So when people spending the money every day on lottery,
but
to make their life better. Wait, to make their life better. I wonder if God in that. I wonder if God in that.
No, that's not really lots.
No, I know it's not lots. Listen to me, brother. Listen to me good. I'm just saying that God is in everything. Okay? So when someone shoots somebody, I wonder where God was. God in that? Should they go free then?
Well,
the election is tied. Can we find consensus by reasoning?
We can.
We can. They can.
We can.
So then why not?
It's a challenging circumstance because those who are in Tobago and are paying them are not Tobagonians. They're really Trinidadians in Tobagonians' body. What we're seeing is a shell, is a hawks, the representation of the ideals of those people in Trinidad. And the ideals that they have is that we remain a ward, we remain a slave, we remain someone who is totally dependent. They don't want us to be dependent. That's the challenge we have. If they had no bosses in Trinidad and they were Tobago, then we would have reasoned because we all would have had the same objective to make Tobago a better place. You know, so but you don't have that interest to care about people in that kind of way. You think about yourself.
So you are saying that you believe that God wants us to settle for lots?
I believe that's the rules. And I believe if that's the rules and the rules are applied, I believe we will win. I'm confident about that.
We ever cast lots in Trinidad before?
Not in the parliament.
Where have we cast lots?
But I'm not sure if you have that
in your elections. In your
one of the local government. I'm not sure if it's in local government. But we have a tie in national government, we have a tie in local government, and now we have a tie in the THA. So all these ties have been taking place, and they have been fixing things piecemeal. When there was a tie in the national parliament, they never addressed the issue.
That's right.
They allowed it. And when the tie came in the local government, they didn't try to address it. And now that it's in the THA, now they want to address it.
So how did they address it then? Can we get it? So can we get a clear before you give us your closing statements? I know people want more, but you are tired.
Yeah, I have to I have to travel tomorrow morning early. I have to move early in the morning. I think it's all about reason. Sometimes the president, if in the case of the government, the president step in. and the president has a role to give whosoever it wants. And at that time was 1818, Pandey and Manning. Pandey was ruling, and instead of Pandey continuing to rule, the president then gave it to Manning, and oh my, it was hot, it was painful that they take the government from me who's already ruling, and they give it to the next person. So it's very mindful of how we treat with it differently. However, the standing orders, what we're treating with today, is not the election, not who leads. What the standing order seeks to do is to elect a presiding officer. Without a presiding officer, the House cannot be called to order. So the clerk is assisting us in electing a presiding officer. The presiding officer, however, has a vote. And once the presiding officer is elected, the next person they will elect would be the chief secretary. And each party will put up a chief secretary. When they draw, the presiding officer will vote for someone. All right? And that vote is what will give us the chief secretary. So this isn't about creating a chief secretary or a deputy chief secretary. It is now about a presiding officer. Whosoever gets the presiding officer will get the vote for chief secretary, etc. So it's very important. Now the presiding officer is playing an important role as a tiebreaker. This is why they do not want to cast lots over the presiding officer. This is not casting lots over who will rule. They wouldn't be so flippant. It's not about casting lots about who will become chief secretary. They're not so flippant. This is about casting lots over the presiding officer, which now is an important figure because they have a vote. Yeah.
So you wish that you could get the presiding officer coming from your section, or you?
Well, we would definitely want it from our section. We think the young man is brilliant. He has worked publicly. He's a public figure. He's a decent man, and I think he will do well managing the House.
So when are we going to have that election?
Well, nobody knows, and this is the tomfoolery. They're giving us fancy words, and time is elapsing. So they don't want to make any move, but they are making all the moves.
Well, Mr. Duke, you have given us an evening that we would never forget.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled.
That people will not forget this meeting. And I have something to say here, that on Sunday coming at 2:30, we are going to be blessed with Sister Tashia Grace Boyce.
Nice. You're a wonderful person.
We miss her and the audience waiting for her. And she'll be here on Sunday. I just got answer from her tonight. And I am so blessed to have her. How can you say, you can use that as your closing statement. How has she grown?
I think that she has been able to understand the dynamics in politics, the cut and trust, the ebb and flow of politics now. And I think she's more settled insofar as her expectations and better aware as to what she can contribute. And so she's a very, very good team player on the PDP team, and we do admire her. And she's part of his success, I must say. Part of our success is towards the effort she would have put in. So I want to thank you, Mama Coco, and thank you for the thousands of fans out there. Hey, this is wonderful. We could do this again. Definitely we can do this again. I enjoyed it. I hope you benefited from the information I gave.
I understand that I have a hater on my show. My cousin Marilyn Trotman. I know she will get hype up because then I never blocked her, which I could have before. But today I received certain information that she's sitting back as a mother and encouraging sister. Maybe I shouldn't speak of this, but at the same time, she is encouraging, or she has encouraged Tracy Davidson Celestine to abuse her son by giving him money and giving him materials to share for the people of Argyle or where or whomever for the election, and he has used the material. It came to me. So I call him out today and say, cuz, don't prepare to go to jail. This is not like before.
True.
After this election, it will be accountability for everybody.
The
So I think
accountability.
Marilyn Trotman, my cousin, thinks she's ready for a ride from me. This is not the forum. But
Forgive them. Forgive them.
There
Thank
is
you.
no forgiveness for me and no mercy. Everybody old enough to know what to do, and we all know right from wrong. We all tying up we head with head ties and calling ourselves Baptists. So everybody's supposed to know spiritually how grounded you are and how God wants you to be responsible for your children. Train them up in the way they should grow. That when they get old,
will not depart from it.
They will not depart from it. So Marilyn Trotman, get off my life. I'm going to answer you and then I'll block you. Do not look for an enemy. I am not enemies. People still ain't learning, The past 7 years, I've been saying the same thing about the THA and the PNM government. And everything has or is coming to pass. Yet, Marilyn wants to show herself to ride up against me before she go in council with her son and ask him if the allegations out there about him is true. You want to come and ride with me, baby girl? No, you can't ride with me. Never. Watson, can she ride with your cousin?
No, man. You are thoroughbred.
Thank you so much. So, my people, let us get ready for Sunday evening at 2:30, where we'll be able to see our friend, where we'll see a woman with passion, where we will see a true young politician at work. Peace, Brother Watson. It was nice having you.
Thank you so much. Love, man.
Thank you so much. Don't move quite yet. Stay a little. And I'm being encouraged right now to do something. Stay put.
All right. I am staying put.
The bell of freedom.
Amen. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring.
Thank God Almighty. Tobago will be free at last.
Amen. Amen. Thank you so much.
Peace, everybody. Thank you to my daughter, Dr. Duke. Thanks to all our guests. I wish we can do, you see, people not ready for facts. All that we are ready for is friction. And I ain't ready to give them the opportunity. Silence, Marilyn Trotman. I was given the authority years ago when all kind of upset hit me and my life with my children, that I wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, rulers of darkness and spiritual wickedness in high places.
Amen.
Peace.
Peace, Mama Coco. Bye.
Thanks to each and everyone. Thanks to Dr. Duke in the back room. Thanks to everyone. Peace again. Peace without and peace within. Thank you. Dr. Duke, thank you for the evening.